to 5 universities, $500 or €500, plus you will have to do an IELTS or a GRE to even make an application for these countries. Whereas with N plus I, you make one single application and you are connected with top 50 engineering institution, elite institutions of engineering in France. Our objective is not to only give you an MTech degree, yes, that is of course the main objective, but to make you a bilingual engineer. Bilingual means that you would be able to speak English and French fluently, because now with globalization, just speaking English is not enough anymore. You should pick up a foreign language, whether it is French, Spanish, German, Italian. You would realize why learning French makes more sense over other languages. It's because it's one of the widest spoken foreign languages. So, like I emphasized, we are a group of 50 Grand Écoles. Now, this is a French word given to an elite institution. So, if you just go and Google Grand École, you would understand these are the most elite institutions. So our network has 50 such members because we are very strict of making our members. We do not just pick up any institution and make them our member. And France is not only Paris. So France is not only Eiffel Tower. France is not only cheese. France is not only Paris. Like India is not just Delhi, Bombay. So you have big cities like Toulouse. Toulouse is where your Airbus industry is located. You have a place called Clermont-Ferrand, which is very famous for chemical engineering. Similarly, all these cities have their specialities. So you could be in any city in France in 40 cities. We cover all fields of engineering. Like I said, we are not a single university. We are a network. We are a portal from where you can connect to 50 engineering colleges in France with paying just one application fee, which means you save a lot of money. Agar aap application fee if you try and compare the application fee for our portal and to other countries, it is just zero, because you are spending almost $1,000 or $2,000 or euros to make an application, whereas here you would be making only 50 euros for 50 engineering colleges, which is ideally €1 per college. That's about 80 rupees. That's cheaper than India. In India also, to make an application into any institution, you have to pay 1,000 rupees to 2,000 rupees, depending where you are applying. Like I said, we cover all fields of engineering. So you could be a student of science, engineering, technology, mathematics, and apply to any of specializations. We have over 500 programs to choose from. So this is a map of France. It's like a hexagon. It is bordered by other European countries. So when you go to France, you don't get a French visa, you get a Schengen visa, which means you can go over to other European countries without a border check. It is a seamless travel. It's like coming from Delhi to Meerut and Meerut to Delhi or Agra. So it's very seamless. So your visa will be valid in 26 countries. You can study in France, you can work in Switzerland, you can study in France, work in Italy, Belgium, Germany, wherever. We are the oldest network for over 22 years now, and 39% of the student ratio in our network is women. It is a very safe country for girls to go to, which is why there is a lot of emphasis that yes, there are a lot of girls in engineering in France and Europe. So this is how our network works. You apply once with us, which is on one portal called nplusi.com. We do not have any other portal. With single application, you are registered with 50 engineering institutions. We have many scholarships to support your study, but for a scholarship, you must remember that you have to be extremely meritorious. You have to have a very high grade, because you're not competing with students from your college, but you are competing from students from all over India. When I say all over India, you would be competing with students from IITs, you would be competing with students from other private institutions. So scholarships are available. We had a student from MIT who went on a scholarship probably 7 to 8 years back, but he had an extremely good profile. So we have 250 keywords to choose from. For specializations, we have more than 200 masters to choose from. Biggest network for over 22 years now. And going to France open your doors to 26 European countries. Coming back to why become a bilingual person or a bilingual professional, because when you speak to international language, your employability ratio grows many folds. You can be employed by many international companies who have maybe offices in France, or French companies who have offices in India, in Australia, in Canada. These days, they are looking for professionals who speak multiple languages. So it could be French and English, it could be German and English, it could be German and French and English. So learning a language will always be an advantage. And we recruit students from almost 80 countries. So your classroom would be truly an international classroom. When we say that you have an international classroom, which means that when you graduate, your classmates would go back to their home countries, your network would increase. And in today's world, it's very important to have friends all over world, because networking is what is required in most of your jobs, as you would have realized if some of you have done your internships. So your classmates could come from Australia, your classmate could be an Australian or a Korean or a Chinese or a Japanese. So we receive students from 80 countries. So we would only focus on the 2 years program. These are other programs. I will not go into details of these programs. A 2 years program in French is called Diplôme d'ingénieur. Now, diplôme is not a diploma, it's a degree. It's a French word for a degree. So you do not have a degree in French. It is called Diplôme d'ingénieur. It's a 2 years MTech degree, which is accredited by CTI, the National Commission on Engineering Degree. So it's a national degree that any international or French student will get. There are times that some of you have not done academically well for some reason in your BTech. Now, it doesn't mean that you can never go abroad or you cannot have an ambition to get a good degree. So we have found a way for you to bridge that gap. You can do a foundation year, which is called a pre-master, which is 1 year before your master's. Now, in this foundation year, you are given training on your language, science, and scientific studies. After this, you can get an enrollment into your MTech degree. So ideally, your master degree will come to 3 years, but this is only for students for some reason who need a foundation year. Ideally, if you have a 4 years of BTech or a BE, you can directly enroll into a 2 years master's. If students have a MTech here in India and they want to do a fast track specialization, they can go for 1 year program called postmaster, which is after a master for a MTech student, and follow this postmaster program of 1 year. So this is how the study program will be. You need to have a bachelor in your country. You can get a direct entry into M1, M2, and in 2 years you come out with an engineering master's degree. For some reason, if you do not have enough criteria, you do not meet the merit of the recruitment jury, if your marks are less, for some reason you do not get admission into a master's MTech directly, you can do a foundation year and then continue for 2 years here. So there is a paper published by IEEE. All of you know what IEEE is. Now, the questions that students normally have are 3 questions. What is my cost of study? What is my job prospects after I finish? And what is my salary structure? So your first question gets addressed here, that Europe needs engineers. So when we are talking of France, by studying in France, it doesn't mean that you will live in France for the rest of your life. You can do an education from France and move to any European country, or you can go to Canada, or you can go to America and work with this MTech degree. It's a globally accepted MTech degree. You can move on for PhD. However, in Europe, there is a lot of job demand for engineers, and this paper talks of it. So this is a independent body. It is not our body which has published this paper. IEEE is independent. The second paper that they published was Engineers and the Industry, New Opportunities. So I'm not going into details, but yes, you can get a job. Our placement ratio is almost 90-95%. So the eligibility criteria is a BE or a BTech. So students who are in final year right now, since we are in a electronic mode, I cannot see you, but I have been told the students are from final year or pre-final year can join in our program. So you should start making your applications right now, which is today, as today onwards. We also accept students from a BSc background, depending, you have to be a BSc Maths, Chemistry, or Physics. You can take a break, become a young professional, come back with the work experience. Which is most important part is we don't need a GRE, GMAT, TOEFL. These are very Anglo-Saxon requirements, which means requirement for English-speaking countries. It's not required in France. You don't need an IELTS or a TOEFL. a GRE or a GMAT. In case you have them, it's just an added qualification. No knowledge of French is required while applying. We don't expect you to speak French when you are here in India, when you're applying from your home country. You do not have to worry. We will take care of your language integration. You will see in the upcoming slides. But if you're planning to go to France, we always recommend that you do a very basic course, a crash course of 100 hours or 120 hours, so that if somebody says bonjour to you, so you know he's just saying good morning or good evening to me. Or if somebody says how are you in French, which is comment ça va, so you know that he's just being polite to me. So if you do a very elementary level of French, it is good enough, because we will ensure that you learn enough French during your 2 years. You don't have to worry about language integration. We will receive and take care of it. The cost of education is very important. Now, when we say 25 to 38 lakh for 2 years, this is your tuition fee plus living cost. So when we say this amount, this is for 2 years, the entire 2 years that you will be in France. It takes care of your food, lodging, boarding, and tuition fee. And this is 1/3 of what you will pay maybe in US, Canada, Australia. Any student who has done research would know that in American MTech degree, ideally will start with 30-35 lakhs per year. In this much amount, you can complete a 2 years education in France. So even if you take a bank loan or family loan, you can easily afford this cost. The last semester in our program is a paid internship, which means you earn for 6 to 8 months, which is highly remunerated. When we talk of stipend in the internship, the stipend that you will get is probably minimum to minimum is 800 euros or 600 euros. So even if we say that you are going to get on the lower side 600 euros, which is ideally 48,000 rupees per month. Now, this will not be even your starting salary after MTech in India. And on highest side, students can even get 1,200 euros, which ideally should be about 96,000 rupees. So we are talking of a very good amount paid to each student during internship, especially if you are going through engineering network N+I. The minimum salary structure set by the government is 530 euros, but our students almost end up getting double of the amount in the stipend. That is because we have really invested in a very high quality education and also lot of language skills in you. Each student will also get a room rent rebate, which is called APL grant, which means if your room rent is 100 euros, 30% of room rent will come back to you. I am just taking a random figure. So out of 100 euros, you will probably get 30 euros in your bank back. So if your room rent is 300 euros, you will get 90 euros in your account back from the government every month, which is a very good amount. And you can buy your food against that amount and possibility of scholarship. This is a website. We have only one website, www.nplusi.com. The deadline to apply is 11th November. So the first deadline for recruitment is 11th November. When you apply by 11th November, there are many scholarships that you can apply to. But if you miss this deadline, then you can apply by 10th of January, and the last deadline would be 31st of March. So, but I normally recommend students to apply by 11th of November so that you have your admission offers by December. And then you have about 4 to 6 months to prepare for your visa, other processes. Our application fee, like I said, is only 50 euros, which is very nominal. And everything is done through this website. So this is the application process. One application for all is done. You apply on www.nplusi.com. Application, interview, everything will happen through the portal. But I do recommend that you finish your application by 11th of November for students who are in final year and actually wanting to go abroad for your studies. All your admission offer will come on the portal itself. The student will make choice on the portal itself. So everything is electronic. It is completely paperless. Uh, just a moment. I think I have a call from your college coming in. Just a moment. Yeah, Kansha. Yeah, Kansha. Yeah, we are online. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, sorry, that was from your college to check if we started. Okay. This is the screenshot of the application form that you will fill as a student. So you have to fill your personal details, academic backgrounds, what you want to study in France, and the two important essays that you need to write is motivation letter and future goals. So you don't have to worry. Statement of purpose is something that we can help you with. We can give you tips on what to write and what not to write in your statement of purpose. You will have to fill all the marks for your BTech 1, BTech 2, BTech 3, and BTech 4. Since you are in BTech final year, you don't have the marks. You can just fill the subjects and leave the marks column blank. So it's very fairly simple application process. All your documents will be uploaded on the portal itself. It's very similar to any Indian application portal. This is very important. We are the only network in the world where we welcome our students at the Paris airport. So you don't have to be scared that what will happen to me once I reach Paris airport. Do not worry, there will be an N plus I team. You will see the pictures in the next slide. We meet all our students, welcome them at the Paris airport. Immediately on your arrival, we give you a welcome kit which has a phone card. So on your arrival, you can call your home and say that you have reached. We take you to a hotel where we open your bank account. We give you social security insurance papers. So if you fall sick, God forbid, on the next day of arrival, you are covered by the French government. And then, of course, you are taken for a sightseeing of Paris. Now, this is a very important thing which many universities don't do. We receive our students at the airport. We take care of them for first 24 hours. Next day, you are transferred to a language school. From July to September, for 8 weeks, there is only French language learning, which means, like I said, if you do not speak even a single word of French, you don't have to worry at all. We will ensure that you learn French for 2 months before you are integrated into your college. Now, this is very important because you have to go out and buy a bread. You have to make friends. You have to maybe go for a French cultural festival, or you have to go for a movie, or if you have to make friends, you have to eat out. You need to speak a bit of French because it's very important. Like coming to India, and if you do not speak a single word of Hindi, or if you go to South India, I don't know how many of you have traveled to South India. When I go to Chennai, there are times when I have an issue even taking an auto. So language is a very important part to integrate into a society. Your program would be in English, you don't have to worry, but learning language is very important. In September, we are transferred to our engineering colleges. So ideally, your engineering will start in September, like anywhere in the world. This is our intake session, but we integrate you for 2 months before. Here, in this 2 months, you stay with a French family. Now, when you stay with a French family, you learn a lot more than just language. You learn about the culture. You learn about what is acceptable in France, what is not acceptable in France. So they tell you a lot of tips on how to survive in France. So these 2 months are very important for our students, and we have been doing this for 22 years, and our students are very successful, which is why we have almost 100% placement ratio. Our students end up getting a very high salary structure. Why? Because they're completely absorbed in the European way of living or the French way of living. The first semester, we will continue your language training. Your engineering classes will also start. You will have a personalized coaching. So first 6 months, you're really taken care of. You have a mentor taking care of you for first 6 months. So you don't have to worry at all when you leave India. In India, I will take care of all your application process, your visa, your departure. And moment you land in Paris, my team will take over. So this is the roadmap for your 2 years program. It is very similar to anywhere in the world. You need to have a BTech or a bachelor from your home country. We welcome you at the airport. You have a language integration for 2 months. You have your first semester, which is also methodological integration of your master's, your semester two, followed by a short internship. And this is the final semester, which is 6 months, or probably this and this combined 8 months. And this is where you get remunerated about 60,000, 70,000, 80,000, depending on what you have negotiated. So in 2 years, you will have your international qualification of language, which is spoken most widely in the world, and your job security. What are the job prospects? This is the last question for any student. Okay, my cost of study was 25 to 38 lakhs or 40 lakhs, I will get a job. What is my starting salary? My starting salary as a junior engineer will be 36,000 euros per month. So if you divide 36 by 12, that is ideally 3,000 euros. And if you convert that into Indian rupees, it's almost 2.5 lakhs or 2.4 lakhs. So if you have to really invest in a very high salary structure, if you're very ambitious, then you have to do something different. You have to do something extra from other students, which is why somebody is going to pay you that much amount of money. Now, what is that difference? It's your international degree and your language competence, in this case, French. So 90% of our students are placed before they get an offer, job offers, before they complete their graduation, which means like IITs, our students are placed in the final semester. Now, this is thanks to the internship that you have done in a company. A company that is investing 80,000, 90,000 in you for 6 months will normally hire you back. So our students are given offer in their final semester of engineering. If for some reason you do not get a job, which is very rare, I mean, for last 8 years in N plus I, touchwood, all the students have been placed, but we still say 1%, if you do not get a job, you can stay back for 2 years in France for a job and then look for a job there. So, which means you do not have to come back to India immediately upon graduation. You will have 2 years to look for a job. But in our case, that scenario really doesn't come into play. If you come back to India for family reasons, you don't have to worry. We have 450 French companies looking for students who have studied in France, who can speak English and French. We have big French companies like Sodexo and Capgemini who have more employees in India than in France. And this year also, they employed a lot of Indians. You have other major investors and companies like Schneider Electrics, you have heard of them, Michelin, Safran, L'Oreal. These all companies are looking for students who have studied in France. Benefit as international students. France has a great quality of life. So when you're going abroad, you're only not going to be in college or just doing your studies. You have to learn a new way of living, a new way of thinking, new culture, how the people of other countries work. So it has a great quality of life. Like I mentioned, accommodation allowance of 30% of your rent is reimbursed by the government, which is a only country which gives this subsidy to each international student. You have unique student discount, and in fact you have discount on everything, whether it is movie, theater, books, electronics, train, metro, fast food, everywhere. So with your student ID card, you can get discounts everywhere. As a student, you can work part-time, which is legally allowed. In France, you can work almost 20 hours per week. But during your classes, you will not have time, but you can work on weekend or during your holiday season, which could be your winter break or summer break. If you come back to India after completing your MTech in France, you can put the copy of your degree and get a 5-year long-term circulation visa, Schengen visa, and not only for you, but your spouse and children also in future. So which means this degree will give you benefit not only now, but forever in future also, wherever you are, probably. So these are pictures from our welcome. You see, these are my colleagues who will welcome you at the Paris airport. They are wearing N plus I t-shirt, so you can easily recognize them. This is the boat cruise that you are taken on. So, and this is your welcome breakfast and everything. And you can even look at the testimonials on the website. Now, why we take you for a sightseeing? So that you can mix around with other students. It's not that you will never come back to Paris for sightseeing. Say you are going to a place called Toulouse, which is the Airbus industry. Somebody wants to do an aeronautical engineering. So you would realize you're not the only student going to Toulouse. You will have maybe 20 more students who have come to Paris and are going to Toulouse. So this is first day where you immediately go and make friends. So you are not homesick or you are not left alone at all from the time you arrive in France. So this is my email ID, g.malhotra@nplusi.com. It is better to write email to me because right now, due to COVID, we are not going to office regularly. So it is better you send us a mail and we will reply immediately back to you. But I'm based in New Delhi at the French Embassy, and students used to come to me for personal counseling to meet me in my office. But in case if we need, we can connect via Skype or another way, maybe a Zoom or something. But you can take a screenshot of this slide, and now we can take the question answer session. Yeah, it's a small presentation that I have made. Probably it's not easy to cover everything in maybe 20-25 slides, but this is a good time where you can ask any questions and other students will also benefit out of it. So I will stop the sharing, and I think maybe Nita can coordinate the question answer. Probably if you can take a screenshot or a picture of this slide, and then we can stop the sharing. Okay, so many of you have sent in questions here.
Should I read out the questions?
Yes,
Okay.
sure.
One of the student has asked that I am a pure vegetarian. Will I have any problem? Like, is
I'm a vegetarian too. I never have a problem. I go twice a year. Only thing is you should learn how to cook before leaving, because food could be expensive in restaurants. So normally all students who go from here have learned basic cooking, and there is no problem. You can find all kind of masalas and sabjis, everything. Even in small cities in France, you have Indians everywhere, because I went to a place which is not very well known. It's a very small town, and I was surprised to find an Indian store, and I was surprised to find a couple of Indians there. There were about 12-15 Indians there, so there is no problem. And of course, Paris is very metropolitan. Paris, may you will have, there is a small area which is like a mini India, so you have everything there.
okay? Another question is, do you provide any assistance for MBA? Do we have anything for MBA students as well?
No, we do not have an MBA. For MBA anywhere in the world, you need to have a 2 years of work
Work
experience
experience.
and a GMAT score. However, as young graduates, you can go for MSc in management. Send me a mail. There is a beautiful program that we have for engineers, and which again has a extremely high placement ratio. It is a program which is dedicated to engineers, which is called MSc in Innovation, Creation, and Entrepreneurship. So it's a very high demand, and I can send you a program with complete syllabus on it. And I see many questions talking about cutoff. So here we are talking of cutoff minimum 60% that you need to have to apply. But if you have 58, 59, do not worry, then you will can go for a foundation year. You will have to ideally do an extra year and then come into the master's degree. But ideally for an MTech, the minimum that we ask is 60%.
And what is the criteria apart from academics? Is there any other criteria for scholarship like work X or maybe some project or
Probably academics, a lot of emphasis on academics. And when we are talking of academics, you really have to be like 90-95% kind of a thing. Also, if you have maybe a good internship, a lot of weightage is given to statement of purpose or motivation letter. So you don't have to really worry. We can send you tips once you start making your application in N plus I portal, especially for students who are planning to go to France for higher education. Once you start your application process, send me a mail saying that you've started your application and you need help on statement of purpose or motivation letter. I will send you tips on what to write and what not to write.
okay? And one of the student has also asked about the kind of weather France has.
Summers are beautiful, but it's a very short summer. It's 4 to 5 months, and rest is winters.
And do we have anything for students from BCA or MCA?
Yes, we have programs for students from BCA, MCA. What I can do, I think it's a good thing. Let me just share my screen again. and the website of N plus I, so that students know how to check for the programs. Probably, Nita, you can keep on reading questions. I can answer. In meanwhile, I'll just share my screen.
Yeah, I'll just go through. Again, one student is asking for something in civil engineering. I mean,
Yes. Okay, so I will take this as an example, civil engineering, and I'll just answer him how to see it on the website.
another thing is like once the student has utilized that 2 years post study visa, is there an option to extend that visa, or does it get converted into for something like
No, it get converted into work permit. So what
work
happens
permits?
is, once the student has, once student has a a job, he will get a offer letter, and his student visa is immediately converted into a work permit.
Okay, and they can stay there as long as they have the work permit there.
Yes, yes. So this is a website. I think students can see there is only one website, nplusi.com, where they can apply. Now this is keyword. So somebody who said I want to find a program in civil engineering can just type civil here. So you can either look at program related to architecture, which is urban development in civil engineering, or just civil engineering course. So if you click on civil engineering and click on search, you see there are 11 programs which are related to civil engineering, 11 master's programs. So you can just scroll down and look at the program. So this is a program in civil engineering, and the domains are written here: engineering, strategic management. This is on public work. This is a master degree in civil engineering. So you can check the entire syllabus of the program here and the specialization. Now coming back to students who have done BCA, if you are looking at programs in computers, you can choose your specialization: informatics, networks, computing, computer graphics, cloud computing, or you can get into cybersecurity. So if you just type cybersecurity, you can see the programs here. You can even combine keywords also. So I can say cybersecurity, I can say cloud computing, I can probably say big data, and I can click on search. So you can combine 3-4 specializations and search for the program. So I have 9 results here. Okay.
Okay, one student has also asked about like 1 year master program. Do we have 1 year master's program also? No.
No, we don't have a 1 year master program. 1 year master program is called postmasters for students who have already done an MTech here in India. And a 1 year master program will not allow them to get a job also. In case they do find a 1 year master program, the number of credits for a pure MTech is 120. So a 1 year master would only give you 60 credits. So it is a non-degree program. So it's a diploma. And diploma will not have value anywhere. So what is the point? This is ideally 3 academic semester and 1 semester for internship. So ideally it's 1.5 year masters, because for last 6 months you're working in a company.
Uh, like many students have asked if they have good options for like if they are from biotech or pharmacy. So
Yes,
is it a good destination for these students also?
yes.
And
So if you're from
pharmacy or biotech.
बायोटेक्नोलॉजी, इफ यू जस्ट टाइप बायो, इज हाँ कुछ भी मतलब सो सी आई जस्ट एक्सप्लेन. अगर आप बायो लिखोगे, यू कैन गेट इनटू बायोकेमिस्ट्री, बायोमैकेनिकल. बायोमेडिकल इज वन लाइन दैट स्टूडेंट्स ऑफ बायोटेक कैन आल्सो लुक एट. You can get into biomolecular, bioprocessing, bioremediation, biosciences, and biotechnology. So we have programs in biotechnology also. You can also get into health services. So you can get into agro health, you can get into so if you click on health, I am just clicking on one keyword, but yeah. So now I have the results. So You don't need a personal counselor. Everything is on the website. All you have to do is click on it and you get the solution. You don't have to waste a lot of time. So this degree programs, so there is a lot of